Hello, family. Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Gosh, I'm so excited to say that. That makes me feel good just saying that out loud, and that is amazing to me. But so I ask you guys while you are watching this show, please, please, please share it out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. Give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us. I don't mind. Just help us trick the algorithms on any of the socials that we're on. And also, don't forget to keep the comments coming. We want to have a conversation instead of making a presentation. And I don't know, but with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Mrs. Dana. Hello. How are
Hi,
you doing this evening?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. I've been really looking forward to our interview.
Oh, you just make me feel good now. No, but I've been looking forward to this as well, and I am excited about learning your techniques for overcoming toxic relationships. But if you would first like to go through a short introduction about yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, I would appreciate that. And I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone. So I'm listening. I'm just looking down.
Okay, that sounds great. So I'm
Thank you.
Dana Nygaard. I'm a fifth generation Texan, and I was born in Houston, but I've been in the Dallas area, Plano specifically, for so many years now, I can't even count. And I am a licensed professional counselor and relationship expert.
Awesome. Now, bigger question here. I know it's not the normal question for this show,
Okay.
but are you a Cowboys fan?
Yes, I am a Cowboys fan.
I'm sorry.
It's been really rough.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
been ugly.
I'm a Cowboys fan too, but
Yeah,
it is terrible
it's
this
dismal.
year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really rough.
and injuries have played a serious effect on us this year, and it's not a good effect.
No,
It's a crappy effect.
it's very crappy, but the tickets are still high, so they need to start winning, so it's worth the price.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
Yeah, I understand that. Jerry is quite the money hungry guy, I think. So, if all right, so first of all, let me say that this show is to show other people that each and every person out there goes through something.
Mhm.
Now, I believe they not only go through things, but in order to get through those things, you have to grow through those things. You see, when I was 17, I was involved in a very serious car accident. I
Mhm.
spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. They told
Wow.
me I probably wouldn't be walking anymore, but I have been doing this show for 8 years now. I have traveled the world and spoken all over the world, and I guess what? I walked in all those places. I defied the odds. And I know that each and every person out there can defy the odds in
Mhm.
their life too. So, has there been anything that has tried to hold you back from getting to your best life?
Yes, definitely. And congratulations on your journey. You're amazing and very inspiring stories. I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that you went through it. Love that you came through it, though. So, yeah, for me, it was coming from a home where I wound up having an insecure attachment from my parents. And what I now know as a therapist, but I didn't understand growing up, was that attachment style follows us throughout our lives. And it's how we relate to people, whether it be bosses, other family members, or romantic relationships. And so that did quite a number on me. And I spent the first few decades of my life really struggling, but not understanding why I was struggling. And I would be in unhealthy relationship after unhealthy relationship until I finally broke free from that.
Now, how did you? Well, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about the effects or the symptoms of
Mhm.
that unhealthy relationship?
Yes, I wound up having an ambivalent attachment style. And so, what that meant, and of course, I didn't know they had a name to it, and that's what was happening, but I really craved closeness because it's the thing that was lacking so much in my childhood. But yet, the flip side of it was I then feared abandonment. And so when you fear abandonment, you need a lot of reassurance. So if there was anything that made me feel unsafe in the sense of, oh, I could be abandoned, I went into extreme panic mode. And I would, you hear a fight, flight, freeze. There's also fawn. And I would fall into fawning over people or fawning over men. And it was like there was something across my forehead that said, victim, take advantage of me because of that.
Wow,
Mhm.
that is that is something that is crazy. I mean, if
Mhm.
you go out there and you something says victim written all over you,
Yeah,
then that's definitely not good because it's not good to live in a victim mentality.
exactly. And then you're prey for people and you're vulnerable for people that are malicious that want to use and abuse you, whether it be in business dealings, romantic relationships, coworkers trying to get something over on you. So I lived a very reactive life because of that.
Yeah, wow, that is really cool. Now that is how exact well, I would imagine that your education as a therapist has kind of taught you this stuff, but how did you learn this stuff at first?
Well, I had someone compliment me and they gave me a genuine compliment and they know me when I was younger. And I went home to my then husband. I'm now happily married to my husband David, but then I was married to someone else. And I went to him and I said, I'm a good wife. And his response was so filled with contempt that something in me shifted. Something that I saw in him, the way he looked at me, I could not unsee it. And that was the beginning of the end of that marriage. And as I'm processing, like, my goodness, what has happened? And how am I in a marriage where I'm treated so terribly and so poorly and reviled? And then I realized, I'm the common denominator in the different relationships I've been in. So I need to figure out, why do I keep attracting men who are controlling and manipulative and lie to me?
Wow, that is crazy to realize that you were attracting all those wrong kind of people. So,
Mhm.
how exactly did you break away from that and start attracting the people that you wanted to attract?
Well, because I had a strong background in psychology, I was a high school psychology teacher at that time, and I had enough hours I could have majored in it, but I was actually a secondary education major. And I knew just enough information about psychology to be dangerous because I didn't have my counseling degree at that point. And when I was thinking about the attachment styles and going through the material, I realized, you know what? I fit that ambivalent style. I need to heal this. And so I did a really deep dive. I spent 90 days, 3 months. I lived, ate, and breathed every waking moment except because I had the summer off, except when I had to do something else. Diving into, why do I feel this way? Why do I allow people to treat me this way? What messages am I telling myself that I may verbalize out loud, or I may just keep them in my head, like, I'm lucky to have him when he's a jerk. Why am I lucky to have a jerk? Like, that didn't make sense. And so the way I presented on the outside, I look calm, cool, collected, did not match up with the inside. So during that 90-day process, I was able to, with the help of God, go from an insecure to a secure attachment style. And there are quizzes you can take, there are assessments. Thank you. Thank you. It was hard work, very painful work, very painful. And not everyone is going to be supportive when you change. So when you try to get better, there are some people who are going to want you to go right back to that homeostasis, be the way you were, because now you're probably not going to put up with as much from them. So you have to be really careful who you invite into your world to support you on this kind of a journey. And I had some amazing people help me.
Well, so I have noticed through doing these shows that a lot of people talk about their amazing circle of support. Now, how exactly, let's say a person doesn't have that circle of support, that amazing circle of support, how can they find or create that circle of support that they need?
That's a really great idea. So I would try to find like-minded people. If that means you have a particular faith, go try to connect with people of that faith. If you have certain hobbies you like, go try to connect with those people. Because even if, let's say, you're a cyclist, okay, and that's your hobby. Once you bond with these people and connect over this shared topic, and then they're like, well, how are you? And if you say, I'm actually going through a really hard time right now, this is what is happening, they're going to want to support you. So I think you have to find people that you have something in common with. It's also very helpful to find a therapist, but you have to be careful out there, because there are some amazing therapists and there are terrible therapists, just like there are in any field, mechanics, bankers, in any field. But you do have to be careful. And then there are different ministries that do walk alongside people, like Stephen Ministries, and it's in the Christian churches. I don't know if it's elsewhere, but they are trained listeners. And just to have someone to say, hey, how are you? How did the thing go that you said you were going to do this week? Way to go. Something like that, I think, is very helpful. And then nowadays we have so many online communities, but even there you have to be careful. So you may, after a while, figure out, oh, I can listen to, Sam or Susie's comments, but I don't listen to Bob or Belinda's comments, because there are people that will say the most outrageous things. I read something today online where a woman told this lady who was going through horrible financial abuse from her husband. It was mind-blowing. And this woman's comment to her was, well, in marriage, we wives should always be silent and just let our husbands essentially do what they want. What are you talking about? Like, that is crazy. So you have to be really careful. You want to go to people who have what you want. So if I want a happy marriage, I'm going to go find people that have a happy marriage. I don't need to hang out with this person over there who hates men and thinks they're all pigs. Like, no, I don't need that person, because that's not what it is. I may have dated a jerk or married a jerk, but that doesn't mean all men are jerks, of course.
That is great advice. That is fantastic advice. And I appreciate hearing someone say that all men aren't jerks. And because there are many people that like to men bash.
Yeah,
Although there's also people that like to women bash.
sure.
So I can't be singular with that, but there are people that like to bash the opposite sex.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous.
I know that it's said like many or all girls are like money hungry, or they only go for the bad guys, and guys are all jerks, and they only go for the girls with bodies, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's very much appreciated to hear somebody of the opposite sex saying something good about people.
Well, good. I'm glad. I don't consider myself a feminist at all, and I think that's part of it is the mindset is I love men. I love my husband. I love my son. I love my father. God rest his soul. He died a few months ago. There are some amazing men. Thank you. Some amazing men in my life. And then there's some jerky men. And there's some amazing women. And then there's some jerky women. It just, it's just human society. It's just people.
So why? All right. So why is it that you? All right. I want your thoughts on this.
Sure.
So why is it that women and men only they date the same kind of people and they get the same results a lot of times? And why is it that they're doing the same thing and expecting different results?
The definition of insanity, right? I love that question. Okay, so if they have an insecure attachment from childhood, and that's roughly 50% of people have an insecure attachment, and there's 3 different subsets of that, but in general, it's because that's what is familiar to them. So when they meet someone, that doesn't mean like they look like their mom or dad necessarily. It's that the way they felt as a child is how this person makes them feel. So it's not comfortable like, oh, I just love this. It's familiar, like been there, done that. I know how to do these push-pull relationships, these toxic, unhealthy relationships. So that's what it is. And until a person realizes, I keep inviting this into my world, I have to change. Because let's say I was single. I'm grateful I'm not, because I have my amazing husband. But if I was single and a man came up to me and said something, let's say on a date that was inappropriate, the old me may have accepted it if it made me feel the same way I felt as a kid, like you're being too much or you're not enough. But as I got healthier, I started holding people accountable. And that way I could get away from someone unhealthy really quickly. Because I know we're going to talk, more about how do you heal after a toxic relationship. Well, if you date someone 1 or 2 times and you break up with them because you think, oh my goodness, they are just terrible. Well, it really wasn't a relationship. And so your heart is more protected when you're wiser going into it. And if I had a business dealing with someone and I caught them lying, I wouldn't want to do business with them. If I was trying to do business with someone and they were gaslighting me, trying to make me doubt my own sanity, doing and saying things in front of me, and then when I call them out saying, I didn't say that, that never happened. If that happened in business, I'd be like, I'm not working with these people. No way. But yet, romantically, that's a sort of person we often invite into our world.
Wow. So it all kind of reverts back to our comfort zone, correct?
From childhood, yes. It's going to stem from childhood, but absolutely.
And our comfort zone. All right. So I know you're a psychologist or a psychology major or something.
Well, so I have a psychology background. I'm a licensed professional counselor. Psychologists have a better education than I do. So I don't want people thinking I'm trying to say I'm something I'm not.
All right. So if you're depressed or if you're struggling at the moment, please reach out to a professional. I realize she does some things, but please reach out to somebody that is in your area, because this is not a form of treatment. It's just an idea for you to learn from. So, let's look at something for a minute. So I know personally, well, I've read personally books that talk about our comfort zone.
Okay.
And because of our brains, and we have that part that is like an ancient brain,
Mm-hmm.
and it is trying to keep us safe at all times.
Yes.
It is trying to watch out for like saber-toothed tigers and dinosaurs and things that are going to eat us.
Sure.
And then that it also affects us in relationships. It also affects us in life in general.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Mhm. Well, the oldest part of the brain, the you said ancient, the reptilian brain, as it's referred to, it is all about safety because when we go into fight, flight, freeze, or even fawn, that's because our brain is saying, uh-oh, danger. So it could be real danger, saber-toothed tiger. We don't have time. So if you and I were sitting there outside of a cave, we have our fire. Okay, back in the day, here comes a saber-toothed tiger. You and I don't have time to go, hey, do you want to convene a meeting? Do we want to get like a tablet and let's like start writing on this, stone tablet what our plan is? We're going to be a saber-toothed tiger snack at that point, right? That's not going to work. So our brain says, hey, when there is danger, I'm going to get you to either flight, which is the first reaction most people have to get away, fight, but most of us didn't wake up thinking I'm going to fight a tiger today, or freeze, which still takes a lot of energy to shut down. It actually takes a lot, or fawn, which is when we're just going on and kissing people's feet sort of thing. And so you react to those situations. Your tendency, flight, fight, whichever one, tends to also stem from your childhood. So because of the trauma of my childhood and a lot of the just unhealthy behaviors, I tended to freeze. But if I have a little bit more of my wits about me, but I'm still not in a good place, I can go into fight mode. And I don't mean I start hitting people, but I could get very defensive. All right. But here's the problem. What if we think it's a saber-toothed tiger and you and I start hauling it and we're going so fast because there's all this adrenaline pumping through our system. But what if it actually isn't? What if it was our silly friend in a saber-toothed tiger costume, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes the brain is on target. Thank you, I survived, I got away from it, or I fought it. And sometimes our brain is so traumatized, it thinks everything is dangerous. So let's say that from childhood, you weren't allowed to talk about your feelings. You had zero autonomy, zero. And then you're in a dating relationship and that person says something that's really pushy, obnoxious, pushing a boundary of yours. Your brain may say, danger, be quiet, don't fight, freeze.
Wow.
Right? Or fight. And then you're arguing all the time. Why are we arguing all the time? Like something's wrong. Or I'm gone. What happened to her? Where'd she go? We didn't even get to talk this out. Because it could be maybe that person isn't actually doing anything wrong, but my brain is going, boop, I'm out of here. And whenever we are thinking clearly, we have 100% of oxygen in our frontal lobe. That's the oldest part of the human brain to develop, or actually the newest part, I should say. And when we're stressed out and we're in that fight or flight, we only have 30% left because 70% goes to our extremities so we can do those things that we need to do. So we're not even thinking clearly.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I know that we were going to talk about how you can move on after something like this.
Mhm.
What is your one piece of advice, or two pieces, or three pieces of advice for people that have been through a toxic relationship and they're looking to move on with their life?
Okay, I think that's a great question. So, one thing I would suggest is getting rid of the mementos. If he gave you a watch, get a different watch. If she gave you a piece of art for your home, get a different piece of art. throw it away, burn it, sell it, give it to someone, whatever. But you don't need those reminders that are going to keep bringing you back to all those memories where either you're stuck in, oh, I remember the good times, or I remember the horrible times. I keep being re-triggered. So that's one thing. Another one is if it really was toxic and it's not just two people who weren't a good fit, don't wait for an apology. And people use that word closure all the time. That's not actually a thing, in my opinion. There is no such thing as closure because anything could just open it up a bit and then it comes right back to you. So I don't think there is a way to just put, a lid on it where it's absolutely 100% closed. So that'd be another one. Because if they're that much of a yucky person, are you really going to believe their apology? They're probably going to give you a fake non-apology apology, which is, I'm sorry that you felt that way, or I'm sorry I treated you that way, but, and then they're going to come in, but you were horrible. You were terrible. And then my final bit of advice would be to recognize that you deserve healthy love. You do not have to be wounded by love. And there are plenty of people on this earth that would be a great fit for you. I don't care if you're tall, short, it doesn't matter. There's a pot for every lid, as my mother used to say to me growing up. There's someone for everyone.
Yeah. I'd like to take a minute here and just say hi to my dad, hi to Carly, hi to Damien, and Damien said, Jeff, long time no see, and I hope you're doing well, Damien. I will see you soon, I'm sure. And then hi to Pat LeBez, who is watching us. I believe she's in New York City. So
Cool.
she's an awesome lady.
Aw,
And I'm happy that I got to meet her.
that's
So,
great.
but all right, let's look at those three tips again. So the first one was get rid of the mementos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the things they gave you, you should
Yeah.
get rid of. And why should we get rid of the things that were given to us?
Well, I think things that were given to you, photos and things, because they're either going to remind you of the good times before you realize they were toxic. So they're still tainted and it's going to keep them floating in your head. They're going to be taking up space in your head. And then that makes people get stuck into rumination. So it's very freeing to take, like, let's pretend, okay, these are my readers, but let's pretend this was a gift. And I think I'm done with this. Maybe I snap them in half. Maybe I donate them because I think someone else could use them. But to not have to think about that person every time, that's part of the healing because you want to create new neural pathways in the brain and you want to let the old pathways die, and the old pathways are going to be connected to that person. Even since now, some things you can't get rid of, like if you have a memory of having a picnic on a freshly cut lawn and that smell, right? Okay, what are you gonna do? Get rid of all grass in the world? Okay, not gonna happen. But if you can get rid of like the candle he gave you, the cologne she gave you, it's probably a good idea.
That's a great idea, and that is something that people can actually do, and I like things like that.
Yeah,
So
actionable.
actionable,
Mhm,
correct.
mhm.
Now, what the second one was? What? I'm sorry.
Oh, don't wait for the apology or closure. Because, like, if you go to a restaurant and they have horrendous service, the food gives you food poisoning, the place is dirty, why do you really want to even speak to the manager? He's going to be like, you're ridiculous. This place is fabulous. Get out of my place. So there's no point in going back to them because they're not going to learn. If they didn't treat you well as the nice human being you are, why are you allowing them to like breathe any more of your air or to keep reading text messages for them? I would block them and unfollow them from everything.
That's also actionable. I
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
actionable things.
Good. Me too.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I had a brain fart. What's the third one?
That's
Also,
okay. The third one is to recognize you deserve healthy love. And
Yes.
so to study it, research it, pull some things up and look at, okay, this is what healthy people do. This is what I'm going to go for. So the next time you're on a date, if you sense like, okay, in the past, I would have, oh, okay, and I would have accepted it. Why not try something different and just say, thank you, I don't think we're a good fit, and leave, block them. Don't go out with them again. And the
Yeah.
stronger you get, then you're going to start attracting. And I'm not referring to the law of attraction because I think that's a bunch of hooey. But you're going to invite in healthier people into your world. And so you'll just keep getting healthier and healthier people. The healthier you get it. I mean, emotionally healthy.
Yeah. Well, that's understood. And that is 3 actionable steps that you guys can follow. And I hope those really help you out in your life.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to say, we have ran out of time. So, is there any contact information you would like to give out?
Yes. So I would love to send people to clarityplease.com, CLARITY, please.com. And what I do there is I work with women who feel, single women, who feel as if they're the reason why they keep attracting these unhealthy men and they want to reverse it. So I have a limited series podcast. It has 3 episodes. I talk more about my story and I give, again, actionable steps that people can follow. And there's a great workbook that goes with it. And it's all free. And then they can reach me too that way.
That is amazing. Now, can you say that one more time? It's Clary, so CLARIEITY.
ITY. Please, PLEASE. So clarityplease.com.
Yeah, I feel dumb now because I didn't know how to spell clarity.
You're great. Don't worry about that. That's no
All right.
big deal. That's all we have spell check.
clarityplease.com.
Yes.
That is amazing. And she has a free gift there on her website for you guys. And I need everybody out there to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. This includes you, Dana.
Yes, sir.
I need you to make every second count.
Yes.
Why, you might ask? Because you never know when those seconds will run out on your one. That's all you get, life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you guys to enjoy that one life. So I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a fantastic week. Thank you. Have a great night.